Welcome, Caps fans, to another episode of Father and Son Caps Precap for the Capitals New York Rangers game tomorrow, March 4th. This is going to look to be an interesting game, especially since the Rangers are going to be coming off of a back-to-back road game. Tonight they're playing in Pittsburgh, and tomorrow they will be playing in D.C. So we don't expect to see Henrik Lundqvist in net. We're probably going to see Rana in net instead. Caps are also going to be playing their third game in 4 days with another back-to-back game set up this weekend, one on Friday, one on Saturday. So both teams are going to be playing kind of exhausted, but we should expect to see a good game because this is another rivalry matchup.
Well, the Caps certainly couldn't get up against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but if you can't get up against the Rangers, who can you get fired up about? So I think the Rangers are playing pretty well in their last 10. I believe they're 7-2-1, and they seem to be on the rise. Now second in the Eastern Conference, tied in points with the Panthers. I think they have the tiebreaker. So we're looking at a team with 80 points that's playing pretty well right now. They're actually in the bottom realm when it comes to the power play and penalty kill. So what does that tell you?
That tells us that we need to capitalize with our special teams because we're in the top.
Yes, that's right. It also tells you they play good 5-on-5 hockey to be where they're at.
That's true.
And if you look at their goals for and the goals against, they're in the top 10, but they're in the bottom of that top 10 group. So they're a team that's not overwhelming, but they're very deep, and they've got some very good players. Of course, led by Matt Zuccarello.
Yeah, and you're right about the special teams. They're, I want to say, 24th for power play and 26th in the league for penalty kill. They don't generate a lot of shots to the net. But what they do is get bodies in front, which is something that we've struggled with lately. Not last game, obviously, because a lot of our goals came with traffic in front. But the Rangers do have a winning record. They had a very powerful month of February. I think the record was 10 wins and 4 losses. So they're a strong team, and they're a scary team to face off against. I think right now Rick Nash is injured. He's still got that bruise to the bone. And Mark Stahl may or may not play tomorrow against us. It depends on how he's feeling. I know he's gotten sick with the flu. But, the other Stahl brother, Eric, is in there now. Stripped from his brother, Jordan.
Eric Stahl, gifted to the New York Rangers by the Carolina Hurricanes. Thank you, Carolina.
But, you can also say he's an aging star. He wasn't really doing too much this year. And years leading up to this, he hasn't made much of an impact for their team. They need to, Carolina, even though this is going way off course, they really do need to build from the ground up for their team because they've got an aging roster. Eric Stahl, he was there for their cup in 05-06, and he was definitely part of their team when they was building up to that pinnacle of their franchise. But he's also been there through the ups and downs in the recent years. So,
one question though: who gifts players to the Caps?
Yeah, no one. We're a scary-looking team. We don't need any gifts.
Not this year. And I think that's another factor in this game because the Rangers are certainly going to be up for it. And we saw that with the Penguins the other night. I think the Caps on paper better than the Penguins. Yeah, you've got Crosby, you've got Kunitz, you've got Malkin. Marc-Andre Fleury didn't play in that game. I thought Murray played pretty well.
Yeah.
But on paper, the Caps are very deep. They've got really no weaknesses. But you saw a Penn's team that was highly motivated, and they came in, and I thought the Pens played pretty well. The Caps were managed to get a win. Certainly last night we didn't see that. I think the thing with the Caps and what we really need to see against the Rangers, you have to put together a full 60 minutes. We can't just either start strong and then let up in the second period, mail it in. The team's got to show up every period, and I'm starting to wonder if they're, not as consistent in that regard because these games don't really mean much for them right now, being 18 points out in first place in the Eastern Conference
and 13 points out overall.
Yes, they're looking right now at 100 points early March. And, right now, I think, unless some calamity becomes this team, they're going to walk away with the President's Trophy.
Absolutely. And I was actually looking up the statistics today. The current odds of us winning the President's Trophy are around 99.9%. It's going to be near impossible for any other team to catch up to us. Guaranteed playoff spot, guaranteed almost President's Trophy. What is this team really playing for right now? I think what we're playing for right now is finding their consistent game to go into the playoffs with. So, as long as our coaching staff and our leaders motivate the guys right, I think we can come out of this season strong. They're on record pace they're on a record pace for their franchise as far as points by a lot, by like 6 points right now. I think we're still on pace for 128, maybe 127 now. But, this team, they're still fighting for something. You can't just say they're going to just lay back, even though it looked like they kind of laid back in last night's game.
True. I will say this, though. Despite not having their best efforts, and let's face it, this team has not played like it did leading up to the All-Star break. When we got the snow games and the All-Star break, it just hasn't looked the same after that. They had a long layoff. I think they played 1 or 2 games in a couple of weeks. And then they come back, and they haven't gotten that stride back yet. But maybe this is our adversity. They say every team that wins the Cup has to face some level of adversity. But they're still winning games. They're still able to pull out, despite not playing their best hockey, wins against the Penguins, win against a team that's struggling like the Leafs, that's in a complete rebuild. In a game where they really didn't get emotional at all. It just seemed like they were playing almost uninterested hockey. They're still able to get wins in some of these games.
But, I'd rather be facing our adversity now rather than in the playoffs like we have in the past. It looks like this could be a great learning experience for our guys, and I'm not about to be pessimistic about it, even though I've kind of sounded pessimistic in the last few videos.
That's right. And the other point is, do we want them to peak now? No, we do not. We want them to peak as they head through the end of the season and right into the playoffs, and that's when you want your trajectory.
Right.
So hopefully we'll see that. It gives Barry Trotz maybe a little bit of time and space to maybe rest a guy, or maybe if somebody's injured, they don't rush back into the lineup, and you handle the bumps and bruises by managing your roster in a way where you can move guys in and out as needed to keep them healthy and to keep them a little bit fresh.
Right. So we're going into this game tomorrow with a pretty deep roster, playing against another team with a pretty deep roster. I don't think the Rangers are scratching anyone. They've got obviously, like I said before, Mark Stahl is going to be a maybe for the game. Rick Nash, one of their top point producers, is still out with the bruise to the bone. But they've still got a pretty deep roster, and like you said before, they are very, very good at 5-on-5 hockey. One thing that they're very good at is creating turnovers. If you look at their numbers for turnovers, it's I want to say it's in the top 10 in the league. And we are very, very good at giving the puck away, especially in the first period. So what do we need to do? We need to come out strong. We need to connect on our passes. We need to do the hockey basics, especially the breakout. The breakout, we cannot do these big, long stretch passes that cut halfway through the neutral zone and expect guys to go in 2-on-1. Because we've seen every game turnovers. Against the Penguins, we had a turnover that led to the Evgeny Malkin goal. We need to play strong with the hockey basics because that's pretty much all we're lacking right now. We've got the deepest roster in the league. We've got some of the best raw talent as far as the top 2 lines go. I mean, I don't understand why we're not scoring 4 or 5 goals every game.
Yeah, I agree. It's a matter of bringing a 60-minute effort and doing that on a consistent basis. And I think that's what this team has to find right now. Now, having said that, and I was talking about resting guys a little bit earlier, you do want that final stretch of 5 to 10 games, everybody in and playing, because you don't want to be resting guys all the way up until the end, because we need these guys out there. Hockey's one of these games. You take a break, you come back, it takes you a while to get your timing back and everything else, and you need to be consistent. So we do want that at the end of the season. But I'm thinking right now that the question marks heading into this game. Can we show some emotion against a big rival? Can we bring a 60-minute effort, and can we limit the turnovers? And quite frankly, the power play, even though it still leads the league, has been a little bit stagnant lately. They have scored the last couple of games, but I want to see a little bit more of a dynamic flow on the ice. It became predictable where we kept swinging the puck over to Ovechkin, or we would shoot from the point. We had 2 shot points after that. There was not the guy coming in on the half wall. They were very rarely pushing it in for the one-timer to either Williams or Oshie out there in where Brouwer used to sit. We just need to become a little bit more unpredictable.
Well, I think the Caps have improved on their power play recently. If you notice our last 2 power play goals, they were both driven by Niskanen. Yesterday's game, it was Niskanen shooting from the point with a lot of guys in front. Mm-hmm. The game before that, it was a tip-in by TJ Oshie on another Niskanen shot. And both also a power play goal, and both were game winners. And you'll notice that Ovi's just kind of hanging a little bit lower on the circle, which brings the other team back down, which is exactly what we need because that it allows us to generate more traffic.
Yeah, in the Pittsburgh game, he clearly created the space by heading to the net, and you saw the Pittsburgh defense collapse. Niskanen was able to take the pass and just crank it, and Oshie got a piece of it. Last night, I actually thought Oshie might have gotten a piece of that one. I haven't seen a scoring change. I'm assuming that did not happen. There was no mention of it.
I think it was still Niskanen's goal. So
hopefully we'll get a consistent effort tomorrow night.
That's all we can ask for. So, what's your prediction for tomorrow's game?
Well, they've been 3-2, 3-2 the last couple of games. And I keep calling 4-2. I think that I'm gonna call a close 2-1 shootout win.
Ooh. We haven't seen overtime.
No, we haven't. I'm going to call a close 2-1 shootout win. I just feel that this game's going to be tight. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm way wrong on this one. But I see a tight game with a shootout win, and I'm going to predict that that we're going to get a goal this time from. I'll go with Oshie because he's been hot lately.
Okay. I'm going to say we're not going to the shootout, and I really, really hope we don't go to the shootout. We've got guys that can score, but even if we're playing Holtby, they've got guys that can score in the shootout. They're very good. They're very strong. They've got 3 shootout wins this year so far. The Rangers do. So I'm gonna say, and this is just gonna sound cliche because it's been the track lately, but I'm gonna say we're gonna win 3-2. I'm gonna say Niskanen's gonna get another goal. He's gonna have 2 goals in the last 2 games, and I think Evgeny Kuznetsov is gonna have a 2-point night. Again, very standard prediction. But this time I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Jay Beagle's going to get a goal.
Back from the injury, and he nets one, I'll be happy with that.
Absolutely. So we'll catch up with you guys later, and until next time,
let's go Caps!